don't quite understand the point of the question.
The question is, you have made claims that JSA, I think earlier on this morning you said the sanction regime is to make the right decisions, to do the right thing, to help people do the right thing.
I thought that was the principle that accepted by the Labour Party too.
But in terms of the evidence to support that sanctions are making people move into work, you haven't got any, have you, Minister?
Well, I do. I think that sanctions, not just me, by the way, the Bank of England actually also wrote that they believe the work that we are doing, including the sanction system, has had a massive bearing, a big and important bearing, on people taking the decision to move into work. You know, the point about sanctions is that sanctions actually should not be imposed unless absolutely vitally necessary. So, in other words, the sanction position works when people move off JSA and take a decision to take work, if they otherwise would not have done. But what I don't understand, and I must be quite frank with you, what you're driving at. Are you saying that the sanction system does not work, or are you saying that it works? I don't understand what you're actually asking.
I think we will probably find the evidence in the inquiry that we're intending to hold next year on that.
See that, because I think that some of this, unless you've got another question...
I do have, if I could, Chair, it's in relation to UC, and this is why I wanted to ask it at this point. Could you confirm that there's still the intention to introduce in-work conditionality as part of UC? And if so, what sanctions could be applied and under what circumstances to the 3.5 million people in work but on low pay and in receipt of working tax credits?
Yeah, I can answer this question, but I could also say, just in passing, because this was part of the previous question about this, we had a review, the Oakley Review, and I want to quote something back. It's very simple. The Oakley Review said, and I quote, "Benefit sanctions provide a vital backdrop in the social security system for job seekers, key elements of the mutual obligation that underpins both the effectiveness and fairness of the social security system." So I simply don't accept the tenor of your previous question, and I'm not even certain whether your front bench accepts that. But let me also come back to the second question. Under universal credit, I've always made it clear that what universal credit allows is the advisors, therefore, to stay with the person as they move into work, to help them get through the hours as and when they can. And that also is being investigated, to whether we can now work to in-work sanction, in other words, conditionality, so that people get the opportunity to move up the hours if they can, and if they don't wish to do that, we will see whether or not that process of conditionality works, and we're trialling that.
It is a worry, Minister, though, isn't it? I'm sure you would agree that with the levels of sanctioning that we are seeing, hundreds of thousands of people who can have their benefits stopped for a minimum of 4 weeks, and then approximately a quarter from the initial research that I've seen are just disappearing. They're leaving, and we don't know if they're getting into work. That's an absolute indictment on this government's policy, and it's a little bit worrying if we're trying to tout it internationally as a real success story.
Well, can I just say I don't agree with any of that. It's not a surprise to you. I actually believe the sanctions regime as applied is fair. You'll always get the odd case. And let me finish. No, I don't agree with that. I think the reality is that the sanctions regime, as part of this system, we give a huge amount of help and support to all of those who are in the job centres. Job centre staff do not set out to sanction somebody just off the top of their head. They have to have pretty strong evidence and a belief that that individual is not cooperating for various reasons. If they believe that the reasons are that they shouldn't be on JSA, that they should actually be applying for employment support allowance, they give them support and help to do that. But at the same time, this is a contract, really, with taxpayers. We pay people benefits to help them, but there's also an expectation where job seekers, and has been for a while, and through the last Labour government, that they have a responsibility to seek work, to take work where it's available. And I just come back to I come back in conclusion, in my response to you, Ms Abrams, that the reality is, and I said, the monthly average is 66,000 people out of a caseload of 1.27 million people going through the system.
Well,
I do not think that is excessive, and I think your position on this is short of almost being ludicrous, that you think that the whole idea of sanctions is wrong and it shouldn't exist. And I have to tell you, I believe that if we did not have conditionality there to help people focus on what they're doing, we would not have got the kind of numbers of people we have re-entering the workforce. You know, when I just take social housing, the numbers of people unemployed in social housing now has fallen to record levels. So they get the support record levels of support, and they get the conditionality. And I honestly think you are quite wrong in your assertions about the conditionality regime.
Just because